After that absolutely amazing first series, one of the casters had a little bit of a heart attack, needed to catch some breath, so I'm back here with another one. Vexa, how's it going, brother?
Oh, it's going great. I'm so glad to be in the booth for playoffs. Postseason is finally here. We've already had a brilliant match in the upper bracket already, and that slobber knocker, that 5-game series, was a great one to watch, and I imagine a great one to cast over for yourself as well.
It was absolutely amazing. And, well, obviously that is not the only matchup that we've got tonight. There are still plenty of things going on tonight. And the first one being Flip Reset versus Rhapsody. Obviously, they didn't go throughout the season without any stats. So let's just go over that real quick. And it is Rhapsody coming in here as the number 3 seed. Whereas Flip Reset is a number 2 seed. It's neck and neck all the time. And it really comes down to the nil end of it. Both taking 50 wins and 38 losses. This is about as equal as the game as one might expect here.
Absolutely. The major tier has been tight all season. You could arguably say that the tightest tier throughout the entire RSC league. I mean, it was close as hell towards the end of the season. I mean, it wasn't as close as we expected it to end out. I think the top 6 was decided by something like week 8 or something like that. But just the competition, the top 6 wasn't decided for a long while in terms of quality and the teams on display. And just because it's the second and third, I wouldn't expect any difference between these two teams. The first and the fourth came to Game 5, and I'm expecting the exact same thing out of this series as well.
Yeah, the previous series was one that you could argue that, this is not going to go to a Game 5. It did. Now, it can't really go further than that, but that is definitely something I'm expecting as well. Let's just have a little bit more of a specific look at the statistics of the players themselves. You see that Lion has really been there for pretty much every single game. Scoring above 1 goal a game, absolutely phenomenal stat out of a Lion. Really expecting him to be the attacking player out of Rhapsody. Obviously, you need someone on the opposing end. Nobody actually has more goals than they have games played, but Mad Matt really gets close, though.
He certainly does. I mean, just the offensive prowess that we've come to expect from Flip Reset, the pressure that they put on to every team that they play against. It's like they don't even plan for how they're going to play against everyone. They play the exact same way, and it's what's gotten them to the top spot in the tier. I mean, the second spot in the tier. Even my mistake. I mean, it's hard to distinguish the top 4, to be honest, just based on how well they play against one another and everyone else in the league. I mean, it's 99 saves for him, just underneath 100. I mean, that's really, really good for the major tier. The rest of his teammates can't keep up. But on the other side, I want to talk about Lion Rawless for a second, because he is arguably one of the best players in the major tier. He actually did take the major player of the season, just based on his stats, his prowess across the entire field. 93 goals, 46 assists, which is actually the highest in his team, despite the fact that it's a relatively low number for them. But they're a high-octane offense, the great defense, as you can clearly see by the stats. And I think it's just going to be another Game 5 goal fest again, because looking at Major with the way they play, it's less about defense, it's more about offense. And it's just going to be who can control the midfield game as we get kicked off. Here we're looking at what I expect to see from this. I mean, my prediction is probably going to go the way of Flip Reset, just based on what we've seen previously throughout the league. But it honestly could go either way, and I expect a Game 5.
Yeah, I very much do so as well. Rhapsody, I think they're going to be a little bit more attacking. Flip Reset might just be that tiny bit more calculated. Flip Reset, well, they're more attacking right now already. 22 seconds in, and they've kicked us off with the goal.
Unbelievable finish here from Skies, kicking into that midfield. Lion Rawless, you expect him to get a save there, some control in the mid, coming off of his own goal line, but taking the lead very early on for Flip Reset is going to be a great boon for them going into this series.
Yeah, also that great start in Flip Reset. If they can continue this, that is going to be so incredibly dangerous for Rhapsody. Well, obviously, still plenty of time for Rhapsody to try and make that comeback as line down the opposing end. And that's always the problem that I have with one player massively showing up. If they don't show up that one time, that one series, you're looking absolutely terrible. Lion making the save here. Virtue, hello, out of the rule one. Okay, breaking rules. Here's Manir, moves to the backboard, won't be able to get a second touch as Metric is right there to pick it up. And they have been able to break out of defense more on the Rhapsody side.
Breaking rules early from Esmania, like you said, that could come back to bite them. We know just how important it can be. The talismans of this game, like Lion Rawless, wasn't quite there, but Sky somehow gets back to that. It just rolls back in. The angle wasn't quite favourable, but a fantastic 50 by Ismania brings this back to 1-1.
Oh my. What a equalizer right there for Rhapsody to break out and get something going like that. That is absolutely amazing. Now they do need to get more going, as obviously a tied game is not going to lead anywhere except overtime if it does stay that way. Virtue able to break out. I think Ismanir has been playing not that many games for Rhapsody throughout this entire season, 26 in total, I do believe. So whether they're playing with their main lineup is yet to be seen, as well. Flip Reset, they're showing oddnesses in defense as well there.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell exactly who the main three on a roster are. I mean, I know a lot of rosters personally, knowing that as well, that they rotate their players out just to give them a lot of game time. But sometimes it can throw off your opponent when you bring someone in that the other team doesn't expect. And a shot here from Lion puts it across the right side, was never on target. But it's going to be scaring that Flip Reset defense back into their own half as they double commit to clear this one out. It's straight to Virtue, kind of throws away possession. Straight shot from Matrick, puts this to Lion Rawless, who puts it down for Ismania. There's some great passing defense coming out from both sides. I think that's why it's such a low-scoring game so far. But once some of these demos start flying out, some of these bumps, some of these misplays, and boost steals, I think we'll see this one open up a lot quicker as we go into the series.
Yeah, then just a lot more space gets created on the pitch, and almost Malone. I love to see that, a little bit of a brother of a celebrity coming in there to play in the RSC League. Always a lovely feature. Ismanir, can he break out 50 boost? Takes it a little bit too slow. Virtue now on the backboard, also 40 boost. He needs to get out, no flip anymore. I'm sure he was hoping to actually get that. Lion Rawless, he's obviously still going to be waiting, but the boost is dwindling down for Rhapsody. They're not managing to break out as effectively as they were before. Sky's putting that right back in. Virtue, he's still back in that defensive side, but it is going to work out for them as they're able to get in the attack and potentially start a counter here.
Another kick back up the field, tried to catch by Virtue. Takes some control, but Ismania's missed off the backboard. No one from Flip Reset wanted to commit to that. The third man offense, even second man offense, is a little slow for them right now. They try to get a play up the field here, but Lion Rawless with a double 50. Skies is awkward going back towards his own net, but somehow manages to get out of that unscathed. It seems like both sides are a little bit timid. They don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and force something here. I mean, do you expect this from a game one, just trying to figure each other out?
Yeah, it usually does. Game one is kind of that scenario of pushing and pulling, seeing what sticks, seeing what mistakes your opponents make, and then later on in the series, trying to spot that weakness time and time again, trying to exploit it a little bit. Virtue getting a demo, opening up the field a little bit with no shot coming out, and that will be the respawn directly afterwards. 40 seconds remain. This could still end in regulation, but overtime is definitely on the cards here.
Certainly is. 30 seconds is plenty of time to score a goal if one team decides to come up with some magic. Flip Reset tried to do so here, but it's an easy clear for Lion up to Ismani, who's in a 1v1 with Skies, decides to just hit it straight at him. Managed to deal with it comfortably enough. Metric cutting out the rest of the play. He's back up the field this time. There's not much midfield control from either team. He's just rolling onto the crossbar. That almost snuck in for Metric there, but Most Palone tries to keep this one alive. It's bouncing between the corners. Sky still has possession, has a bit of boost, decides to go for the bump, which wasn't quite the right play. They have one last chance as this is up in the air, but Lion takes it away from Most Malone. Sky's probably going to leave this to die as it goes to overtime in the very first game.
Such a much needed reset out of there for Rhapsody. They were stuck on defense pretty much the entire time. Boost was being a scarce factor throughout their entire collective tanks. This guy's with an infield pass. Lion not managing to get in the way. Most playing off to the backboard. Ismanir needs to get a good touch, and he does so. Metric putting that right back in, and they're once again on the back foot, but Virtue can't break out. The positioning out of Most Malone was so pivotal that his shot comes through off the crossbar. Second shot, Sky's going to be going into the back of the net, and the overtime only lasts 30 seconds here.
I was going to talk about Rhapsody's boost woes throughout the last 2 minutes of that game, but you can clearly see it's been told itself. The high line and the pressure from Flip Reset is what we've seen all season long. They did it right here. They had to defend a little bit more than they might be used to. But they've gotten over the hump. They've beaten Rhapsody, and just looking at that performance, do we think that Lion Wallace is really got what it takes to play as well in Elimination Rocket League as he does in League play?
Well, currently it's not looking to be the case, as the only statistic that he actually racked up is one shot on target. No goals, no assists, no saves. So his statistic sheet is showing a completely different side of him, which we do need to see come out. And with this being such a close game and Lion Rollers not showing up, it's going to be massive for Rhapsody. That's something that they can cling on to and kind of think, oh yeah, but our main player hasn't really been showing up as much as, well, he usually does. So let's just wait for that, and then we might just be able to swipe the forward Flip Reset. He does have to show up, and in this game number 2, he might just have to start doing that sooner rather than later.
I'm actually hoping to see a Flip Reset from one of these Flip Reset players. I mean, you've got to play up to what your name is. You've got to show your mechanical ability. I think there's probably someone on this team that's able to do that. We might not see it in this game. Maybe if they get maybe a two game cushion, as they hope to take this second game and go straight to match point. But yeah, like you said, Lion Wallace needs to step up. He needs to embrace that pressure, being named the major player of the season. You typically tend to either melt under it or be forged by it. As Ismanir tries to kick this back up the field, it's back and forth. Just some ricochet Rocket League right now. As Virtue tries to take control, kick it off the corner, straight to Metric. This is back up to the ceiling. It's good control from Lion and Ismanir there. Metric takes it up to the corner. It's straight back across. Guy's in no position to get to this. He does manage to get something off of it, though. It's dropping down into the net. Most Malone tries to get a 50 across 2 defenders, but I don't think there was much of a chance there anyway.
And that corner was a little bit of a dead zone. Now Lion Rollers flicking one player and almost getting 3 for 1 right there. A decent deal. I'm not quite able to bring it home. Sky's now getting past one. No shot coming through. Somehow Most Malone misses that. Lion out to the side. Virtue. What can he do? He can pinch it with Metric into the back of his own net. And that is a way to open up the series here.
I think that really rattled the Rhapsody defense. When that air dribble came through, it messed up the entire rotation, forced them to panic, to kick it to the corner, try and get something away. But the compact offense from Flip Reset, the rotation, pushed them back on, kept that pressure, and they finally found a way through. A minute into this, a little slower than the last game, but it's looking like it's going the same way as the last game so far. As Post One tries to get it off the back ball, Virtue misses, but Isman is there for the follow-up. Straight back up the field. Metric is awkward as it kicks to the corner. Skies gets a crucial touch off of Lion Rollers, but Virtue somehow misses this off the left-hand post. And those misses are what you want to avoid. When you get those chances, you need to take them.
Yeah, so you get down on yourself after that as well. If you have an opportunity, well, Post Malone halting my thought for a quick second, demoing 2 players, completely tearing apart that entire defense of Rhapsody. They're still not able to break through, and then why wait if Skies can just get a second tap off of the pre-flip? Not too sure what was going on the defensive side there, Rhapsody, or Virtue rather specifically, just waiting way too long, and that is going to lead to Flip Reset being 2-0 up.
If Flip Reset had a motto, it would be why wait Hyperia. Exactly as you said, Skies with a phenomenal play to finish that one off himself. He didn't need the help of his teammates to beat that Rhapsody defense. They've done it multiple times this series, and they're just continuing the trend. As a Most Malone or Post Malone, I'm not sure what it is anymore, but he gets 50'd out here. Ismani up the field, but Skies puts it straight back down the middle again. Lion trying to link up with Ismani, but it was a little too quick for his liking. Metric doesn't get the greatest clear as Virtue tries to create some more offense. He's going for himself. He does the exact same thing that Skies did. Puts this away to try and bring his team back into this game.
And this time Metric, and let's see. Oh, let's call him out. Most Malone waiting on that backboard. Neither of them going for it. They had this game with a little bit of a safety net. Now that safety net is completely gone and they're just dangling on right now, holding that lead. But for how long is it going to last? Infield pass to Ismanir, going to be blocked by Most Malone, and pass out towards the center. Metric able to pick it right back up. Lion Rawless clears it out. Skies is just absolutely pinging back and forth right now. Most Malone able to take control of a zero boost, won't really get that far.
Great play by Virtue, despite him getting bumped. Demoed out there even. He cleared it out to the midfield for Lion to play off of it. And I think their boost control has been a lot more controlled in this game than it was in the last one. They've been a lot more patient, covering each other off the backboard especially. Another air dribble from Virtue kicks this up to the mid, but Lion has boost for it. He decides to pass it to the corner. That might have been a mistake as Most Malone puts this to the mid. Two Flip Reset players in the same position. It kind of messed up their rotation a little bit, and that chance goes wanting as Rhapsody go back up the field. It's being out. Guys tries to get something.
Virtue now on the backboard is able to actually get something out of that defensive side. They need to get away. Obviously, Rhapsody 1 goal trailing right now. They need to get something on the board. Esmanier with a decent second touch. It's not going to be good enough, apparently, for his teammates who are just waiting in defense, wanting to start the attack by themselves. Clear comes out of Virtue, pings it down the pitch. Lion Rollers gets in the way of the clear out right back. They do manage to break through entirely. Flip Reset, they're just keeping Rhapsody locked in their own half. Perfectly fine by them, obviously. If they can play this entire final minute in the half of Rhapsody, it's going to be so much safer for them than if they have to defend.
Sometimes it's not even Flip Reset's pressure or position or rotation. Rhapsody just seem to be throwing the ball away, coming out of defense. Because they're on such low boost, they just want to hit it and hope. But a shot here from Metric goes wanting to the right. That could be a big miss. With it just being a 1-goal game, Rhapsody have plenty of time to get this up the field and get something. But they have to be patient. They have to control the game rather than try and force something. As we know that Flip Reset's always going to be there. They're controlling the boost game. They were doing it the entirety of game 1. And they've done it most of game 2 now as well. Another double commit from Rhapsody. Opens up the backfield, but none of them get a touch. Post Malone to the corner, gets a double, but it doesn't do anything as Lion tries to clear this out, but once again throws away possession for Skies to just hit it to the backboard. He doesn't even need to shoot. With 10 seconds left, Virtue tries to get it up the field, but once again, Flip Reset right there to hit it back, to say no. He damaged them once again. This is dropping down, and Virtue kind of puts that onto his own net. Doesn't quite go in, but Flip Reset take game 2 quite comfortable.
Yeah, this is something that has been kind of hinted towards as well. If you look at the stats, Flip Reset, they just have lower stats in general than Rhapsody, and that kind of indicates with them being a very similar seed, they're just taking a little bit more of a controlled approach, not really going for those pop-off plays, not really looking to put that much pressure on towards the opponents in that attacking side by ripping shot after shot after shot. No, they're just taking use of the opportunities that they have and really controlling the entirety of the pitch. Rhapsody, they're in a little bit of a blanket that they can't really get out, but they do not actually know that they're in said blanket. They seem as if they can just run around freely, but Flip Reset has been keeping in tabs on every single part of the play.
Yeah, they're so good at it. It's so effective, as you can clearly see. I mean, like you said, it's such an important point to make that they don't have a ton of shots. They don't have way more shots than their opponent, which can show that you just throwing stuff at the net and hoping that stuff works. No, they're very effective. They're very efficient in what they're doing, how their offense builds. I like to look at that, especially on the side of saves, where if you have a ton of saves, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because, yeah, you have a lot of saves, but it also means that you're probably in your own half a lot of the time, that you're getting peppered with shots, and that's typically not the area you want to be in, because the more shots, generally the more goals. So hopefully Rhapsody can figure out what's going wrong. I think mainly with their midfield, coming out of defense, they probably know that they're getting boost starved quite a bit, but we'll see if they can adapt to that and fight back from this, because they are a match point. They have to reverse sweep here to stay in the upper bracket, but a great chance from Lion goes wanting up to the right hand side. It was a decent 50. They don't quite manage to find the net.
And now a second opportunity. They did have a substitute, Sky, coming in here. And now Sky's of the opposing side, who's been here the entire time. And a pivotal part has he been for sure. Metric rips a shot. And Sky coming into this as a rescue. It's going to be a little bit confusing with two Skys in there, but we're going to have to deal with it somehow. As it just kind of is a race at this point. Which guy can be more pivotal, wanting to kind of take the name right there. Currently, it's a little bit of a ping pong between both the teams and the players here. Skies might just be able to get something right there, not just quite.
We're gonna start calling them Sky 1 and Sky 2. How will we decide the numbers? Right now. No, sorry. Go ahead.
It depends. Whichever scores the goal first can get the one.
That's a fair shout. We'll go with that one. But for now, we'll say Skies and Sky and try our best to figure it out. But Skies misses this off the sidewall. A shot from Lion Rawless is a bit of a dud. As Most Malone tries to take his time, beat out Virtue. He does manage to do so. He's in a 50 battle with Lion Rawless, and he loses out. That defending prowess from Lion coming to the fore. It hasn't quite worked out for his team in this series so far. He misses this in the mid. As they continue to play how they did in games 1 and 2, it did not work, and they have to change something. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in the lower bracket quicker than they can blink. Post Malone here goes for a shot, puts it wide. That was an off a mistake from Lion off the backboard. Bit of panic setting in here on match point for Rhapsody.
Oh, but they could just get it nonetheless. Flippery said they're putting on the pressure. Sky's in a little bit of an odd position. Gets a touch, but it's not necessarily the greatest touch. Metric can very much help that along, though. Into Skies once again. Not enough just yet. As Lion Rawless with the backboard. It seems as if Rhapsody are indeed once again in that backboard decision every single time, where they either have to clear it out massively, but they don't really have to boost, and that is such a difficult position. Are you going to keep it close, or are you going to massively boom it? Skies with a flip reset, not able to get a second touch there. As that pinch once again goes towards the back of the net. Sky is able to clear it out for now, but they are so low on boost. Most alone in towards the center. Sky's up for it. Lion Rawless gets in the way, but Rhapsody, they are looking threatened.
Threatened they are indeed. Skies kind of misses this. Well, it doesn't miss it. Tees it up for Post Malone, but Sky is just there. The sub coming in to save his team from going into a deficit. That is something that is important to note. No goals have been scored in this entire game so far. In both games 1 and 2, there was a goal before the first minute had even been up. As Lion goes up for this with 2 defenders on flip reset, straight back down, but there's no one to follow from Rhapsody. They're playing a much more defensive game now, not trusting themselves to go up the field. I was going to talk about it, that the boost is obviously important in every aspect of the game, but confidence is as well. The positional pressure from flip reset has been stifling against Rhapsody, and they're just scared to come out of their own half and risk something and go for the ball, even when they don't have much boost to do anything with it.
Oh, but somehow this shot finding its way through. Lion Rawless from the center actually just manages to get it through after a miss on the backboard. Most Malone flipping the wrong way. Sky's caught off guard, and that is actually going to be the lead for Rhapsody, who've been pressed back in the defense every single time. Only having brief moments. Could a 2-0 goal just happen right here? Skies gets to clear out. And now they have 1 minute to try and break through, something that they have been working towards pretty much the entire game right here. Not able to get it going quite as of now. Lion Rawless, last man in defense, misses the ball completely. Metric finds himself an open net. I guess he doesn't find it just yet. Skies has another go. Well, I guess we have the Sky number 1 as it is, as Sky's putting it through.
Sky number 1 with his first goal in the game. just managing to get it past the other Sky number 2 at this point. I mean, it's a tie game, but it feels like Flip Reset's been controlling the whole thing. Sky 2 has 4 saves to his name, and Sky 1 with a little bit of ping issue right now has 3. And it's been quite a defensive, tactical chess match at the moment. But Rhapsody with a lot more confidence going up the field. You can see it. They're pushing these corner reads. They're going for a lot more stuff. Lion Rollers is on the goal line. He's not quite in position to get a shot off of Sky's play there. But the confidence is exuding. You can see it building. It's almost like an energy. It just ricochets through the field. You can feel it. And Rhapsody, you can feel it right now. This one goes in off of Metric. This was a bit of a own goal mistake. Most Malone tries to clear this one out, but just tease it off to Lion. And this really should not have happened, Iberia.
Oh no, and I was going to say, this is going to be a little bit of a golden goal scenario as my headset just gets stuck completely. There we go, I finally managed to unhinge it. Something that's stuck as well as Flip Reset in their own defensive half right now. They've got 8 seconds to try and unhinge themselves. Most blown in towards the center. Obviously, this is going to be a defensive game right now for Rhapsody. Metric able to keep it up, ping it towards the backboard. 2 players commit. Are they going to be making a touch? Yes, but Most Blown has a read off to the backboard, but a backflip comes in. No shot making its way through. A Rhapsody somehow get the victory after that shaky end right there. But oh my word, what a weird way to end the game right there.
We said at the very beginning of this that Major is the team that you expect to see a lot of offense in. A ton of goals, barely any defense, just teams beating each other with sheer pace up the field. But this has been a defensive masterclass from both Flip Reset and now Rhapsody in Game 3. They saved themselves from going down into the lower bracket. They'll have to do it one more time to take it to a Game 5. But a great performance here keeps them in this one. And I just want to talk about Sky too. I think he should be Sky 1 from now on, I fear. The defense from him was unbelievable. I mean, he spent a lot of time in the defensive half, and that's part of why he has a lot of saves. But his positioning and his boost management were fantastic. He was the defensive rock for Rhapsody, and I think he truly is what made the difference. And gave Lion Rollis, I think, a lot of time and space, a lot of free area to go and do what he does best, and he did that. He got 2 goals, 3 shots, and a save to his name as well. And I think a little bit more passing is what Rhapsody needs. I think they could maybe bring this one to Game 5, but we'll have to see if Flip Reset realize just what it is that went wrong in that last game.
Now, how about Sky 3 as third man? That could be a breakthrough. But actually, it doesn't really matter since Sky from the Flip Reset side has subbed out due to ping issues, and now all of a sudden you already have that foundation for a reverse sweep. A phenomenal start from Flip Reset though. He literally could not be better. Might just put a dink in the armor of Rhapsody.
Instant impact from the sub here, coming off the bench to score in 2 seconds. I mean, it was a kickoff mistake from Sky there. I think we'll call him Sky 0, as he's gone from hero to 0 here in Game 4. Not a very, very good way to start a Game 4. Hopefully they'll be able to bounce back from that, realize that it was just a little mistake, can easily come back from it. Plenty of time. You won the last game. You can do it again as a pass infield. The line here straight to the bottom right hand corner, but Metric was just in the right position. He gets demoed for the trouble, but he will not care as he keeps his team ahead in this one.
And 4 minutes to hold on is such a long amount of time. Miss coming on from the backboard. Lele still able to get it down the pitch. Virtue can catch it, but it's not necessarily the greatest position for them to be, and they had a great opportunity. What is happening on the side of Flip Reset? The inconsistencies are barging through there. Oh my word, Lion Rollers. I swear, if he got that on target, I would have lost my marbles right there. Lele 50 in towards the center. Metric able to get a touch. Not really going to be anything coming out of it though, as the defense from Rhapsody is looking a little bit slow, if I'm honest.
Well, we've seen them having these issues throughout the entire series. It's typically about boost management and it being stolen by Flip Reset. You cannot manage the boost you do not have. But they are keeping it to a 1-goal game so far. I think they bounced back from that early mistake already. They're controlling the ball. They're not just banging it up the field out of defense as Lion does here. He gets it past one, but of course Metric is right there. Flip Reset are placed so close together when they get up on offense. They trust one another to be in the right positions, and almost pinched between Post Malone and Lele there, puts it towards the target, but it's into the corners. Another kick out by Sky, gets this for Metric. His line is up, but he gets beat. Not quite on target. Lele with control, with boost, doesn't have the best angle towards the net though. Sky was up for this. Metric following, gets a great 50 to the midfield, but Lele has no boost to get this past Sky. This is going straight back up the field, and he's scored past all 3 defenders. What happened to Metric on defense here?
On the 50 happening from Lele, and Sky just completely booming it through and able to capitalize. And I was going to say that Rhapsody they will be playing from behind pretty much the entire time, which well still holds true to a certain extent, but they have managed to tie it all back up. Might even be able to take the lead right here. Lele, not denying that happening, puts it towards the side or straight into Virtue, booms it down the pitch looking for a teammate, none found. They do manage to keep this attack going somehow on the side of Rhapsody. That sub in from Flip Reset is not necessarily something that they're going to be too happy with, as they are struggling to break out right now.
It's scrambling defense for Flip Reset. They've been hit. They got knocked back after that one. I want to clear Metric's name. It was Most Palone's mistake going off the back, and it's another one from him. Sky going for the double tap. He doesn't get the touch, but Lion cannot find the target either. Metric's there. It's another shot on target. Metric up to the backboard. Sky trying to follow it up. He goes for the shot. It's just wide, but the pressure from Rhapsody is mounting as seconds go by. Flip Reset is getting more and more scared of this Rhapsody offense, and I would be too if I were them. They're controlling every boost in the midfield, going back and controlling the back boosts and their opponent's side of the field as well. If they keep this up and they start winning their 50s a lot more, this really could go to match point.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to a game number 5. Oh my word, we already said it from the start. But then once again, we'd be in a position where a reverse sweep might just find its way through, which would be absolutely ridiculous. Now Lion Rollers making his way down the pitch. No opponent found when he was looking for the demo. He will maybe try again later on. But for now, they're going to have to try and break out of the defense on the side of Flip Reset. Metric does lovely with a 50, getting in towards the center. Lele now missing the ball. Virtue finds himself an open net. That could just mean game.
Looking at how the defense went through this, Lele in an awkward position, expecting his teammate to be there, just no rotation from Most Palone. He was already up the field. I mean, they have to push, they have to go and score, but you cannot throw everything into this. I mean, if you've been watching, if you've been paying attention, Rhapsody have so much more confidence after bringing Sky in. He's been at the top of the scoreboard in the last game and in this one as well. He's doing so much for his team. He's giving Lion Rollers that ability to get up the field and play how we know he can play, as they control the mid a lot more. Flip Reset getting pushed back into their own half as another one goes to the backboard. No one's up for this, but Lion Rollers, he's down, but Lele is just managing to reach that in time to keep this one from going 2-0 up, but Lion back across the field. It does indeed go to a 2-goal game. They can't quite seem to figure it out right now.
And that is something that's plaguing the Flip Reset side. This is the first goal for them that hasn't been conceded off of the back of a bad 50 somewhere on the pitch. So this is the first properly created goal. I say properly, it also wasn't a great breakout. Well, now they have a goal of 40 seconds if they want to try and avoid that game 5 scenario. Sky might just able to solidify his legacy right there. Not able to do it just quite. As a triple coming comes in, Lion surely is going to be finishing the game with that shot there.
I was also going to say that it's the very first game where we've had at least a 2-goal deficit for one of the team, a 2-goal gap, and now Lion making it 3. All 3 players on Rhapsody have got a goal. Lion's got 2 himself. The offensive powerhouse that he is, we expected to see it from him. He didn't quite manage to do so. Managed to bring it out in the early part of the series, but right now they have pretty much secured a game 5. They are on the path for a reverse sweep, and because of Flip Reset's substitution there and the fact that they had to bring Skies out because of connection issues, do you think it's something that that they haven't played as much with Lele and it's throwing them off in terms of rotation and positioning?
Well, we saw that in Rhapsody when they were playing with their main roster, with their ideal roster. They were slacking just that tiny margin, and that tiny margin is more than enough for somebody to break through. As the most blown leaves the match as well. Going to be interesting to see what happens on the start of Flip Reset, whether it's just a card change. But it's all about tiny margins right there. You need to be coming in perfect. And now another substitute does come in. Skies comes back for this game number 5, hoping that his ping issues are all resolved. And this is going to be so incredibly intense. We're going to have to see what happens. Game number 5, you want your strongest lineup at Flip Reset. Well, Most Baloney's not been able to do that much with 36 points. And Skies, we know he's got a pretty decent arsenal in his March, so it might just be a game's turner here for Flip Reset.
Major is such an unpredictable tier. We already had a game going all the way to game 5, a reverse sweep in the first series between Otakus and Blaze, and we're going to see another one here. Possibly Rhapsody could get a reverse sweep. Flip Reset are really hoping that doesn't happen. They want to save that bye into the upper final and have a third chance even to go through playoffs. One of these teams has to drop. No, my mistake. We're going to have to see how that goes as Rhapsody and Flip Reset meet each other for the 5th time in this series. Back to the, I think it was, now Lily is a sub, so it's not the ideal lineup for Flip Reset from the very beginning of the series that won them games 1 and 2. Hopefully they'll hope to find some form in game 5. As Sky puts this back across to Skies, he puts it to the mid. Lily's there for a free shot. It's going across. Virtue's going up. He just managed to save it off the goal line. That was not nearly as comfortable as it might have looked from one angle as he gets it back up the field. Passing side to Lion Rollers. A bit of a mix-up there between the two players. They try to get something on offense. But this is straight back up the field. Lily on the counter-attack. Wasn't the best shot from him, however. And it's back and forth. It's like we've just continued in from game 4.
Yeah, this time... well, it might just be a different Victor coming out of that back and forth. It's continuous trying to test each other. And Virtue, he's been shown to have ping issues, or at least on the scoreboard. I'm not too sure whether he's been dealing with that himself. But if he does make an uncharacteristic miss, that's something I'm going to be looking at directly. Metric in towards the center. Just a pass off to Sky. Actually, no, it's going to be Virtue. We're ripping a shot. Skies gets the save, but it's still another shot coming out of Lion. Off the crossbar, down and in, a Rhapsody are currently looking to pull off the reverse sweep here.
Taking first blood in game 5. Who else but Lion Rawless, the major player of the season? That is such an important goal to get. It sets a tone for game 5. Flip Reset haven't had the best last few games, of course, losing the last 3 on the bounce. Forcing last 2 on the bounce even. They might lose this one. They are losing it right now. But a shot here from Metric as Lion misses off the backboard. He's been doing that a few times in this series. The defensive mistakes from Rhapsody is what plagued them so early on. They don't want to fall back into those ways. This Flip Reset could start to see a resurgence here as they get a bit more confidence. There's a lot less boost control from them. They're not pushing back into the midfield as much. They're rotating all the way back, and it's what's killing the pressure. And that's just how the way they play. It's the best way for them to play. And I hope that they find that back again with 3 minutes left to go.
And what a gutting loss it would be as well, Rhapsody. Oh, well, hold that thought for a second. Sky getting bumped out of the air. Lion Rollers not able to get it in, thus, even though having an open net. And Sky might just be able to reset from the center. It's going to pass one, but it's Sky's picking it up in the backboard. Lion Rollers off to the backboard. Rhapsody, they're putting on so much pressure. And one massive boomer out. It's going to relieve all that pressure, alleviate that on the side of Flip Reset. Is it going to be good enough? They've got 2.5 minutes. Might just equalize right here. Indeed, Lele, they're looking to make this a game for indeed. And Flip Reset with his equalizer, very much making it a game indeed.
Some panic defense from Rhapsody. It's what we saw in games 1 and 2, a little bit in game 3 as well. They found their form there. But just Sky coming off of that backboard, you would expect him to get some sort of touch. He's been so good on defense so far. Throughout this series. It's a little mistake from him, and he opened up all the way. Lele with a shot. It's off to the crossbar. It's a save from Sky, and it's put onto the crossbar again from the other Skies. Missing that one. You cannot be missing that one in such a close game 5.
Especially at 2 minutes remaining, that could just be the end, or at least giving you enough confidence to try and pull through. Off to the backboard once again, looking to get something going. Virtue whips it up right towards absolutely nobody's team. It was rotating now. I thought he would be staying in for a little bit more. Metric gets the read. It's not necessarily the greatest. Well, Skies might just make it a great read nonetheless. It's just Sky up against Sky right there, and neither of them really coming out the victor as the save does get made. It's Virtue on the sidewall will get a favorable bounce. 15 towards the center. It's going to resume control for Rhapsody. They do need to get more. As look at this, Flip Reset is just being so passive and then just throw it away. I'm not too sure what's going on there.
It's a lack of confidence at this point. I think High Fury, this is a tie game, but the way Rhapsody have come out with another one from Lion as he takes the lead, the control on the offensive side from Virtue He's putting on so much pressure. It's a great touch from him. Metric has no idea where this ball is going to end up off the backboard. It just feels like they don't understand who they are as a team anymore. And I mean, they played so well in the first few games of this series, understanding how they needed to keep Rhapsody under so much pressure, keep them in their own half. But it's completely falling apart. It's like they're playing a different game at the moment.
I don't know what's going on right now, but they have to figure it out in that final minute. Otherwise, they are putting themselves in a very tough position, or otherwise they just lose. 50 not going in quite yet. What is this? Absolutely madness unfolding on the goal line. Sky's finally able to pull it through off of the back of that 50, and the game is all tied up once again.
Fantastic effort from Lele to set this one up. He wanted the goal originally, but it bounces off the post, off the crossbar multiple times. Sky's coming in to finish that one off, to tie it up with just a minute left to go. You asked for them to do this, High Fury, or at least you expected them to, possibly. They've answered the call. They brought this one back, but it's straight back up the field. Virtue line's already up there. If Metric doesn't get a touch, he just managed to do so. That would have likely been 3-2 for Rhapsody. But they keep this one tied up with 30 seconds left to go. Rhapsody have control, so straight back to the mid. Luckily, Skies was there. Virtue had an eye on that one. Lion back to the corner as Matrick tries to get something off of it. He does get a nice touch back to the backboard, but all three Flip Reset players in the same place. They have no control as Virtue pushes it back to the mid. There's boost to the backboard. Will he follow it himself? He'll try, but Sky clears it out. Still another chance as Lion goes for this. It's up the field, but it's slow. No one can get back to it, but Skies puts his mid. Metric with a bump. A demo on the player. This is going up the field. Skies has time. Has no boost, however. Tries for goal for the Musty, but we have overtime in game 5. My voice is falling apart, I fear.
Oh my, this is absolutely ridiculous, and this is only round 1 as well. There is another life after this, but you don't want to be in that bottom bracket. As Lyra always rips a shot. Skies with a save. Now Metric puts it towards that opposing side. Virtue gets a save. It's not really the greatest one, as it's still in front of the goal. Lele only hits it down. Not really going to be creating too much pressure. Sky might just be creating pressure down the other end. Pinch coming through. Metric with a save, though. The pinch was a good idea. It's not really going to be good enough, as Lele might just have ripped a long shot. Is there going to be a shot? Metric misses the ball completely. That could have been the game finisher. Now Sky beating out Sky, finding himself in an open net, but goodbye off the pitch. Metric still with the save. Lion Rollers, he had an opportunity, so many opportunities to finish the game, and it's Skies once again. It's just down the other end once again, and this is an absolutely ridiculous overtime.
I am trying my best to make sense of what I just witnessed, Hyperia. 2 or 3 shot chances back up the field. There was multiple demos to keep this one in overtime. Both of these teams are trying their hardest, playing some of their best Rocket League. I mean, depending on your perspective, some of their worst as well. As Lele goes up for this, Lion gets beaten out. It's straight back down. Skies tries to get something, but the other Skies gets there. Metric beats him out on the 50. This is falling back down. Lele misses. Sky misses as well. The other Skies goes for the shot. It's off the crossbar. And Lion trying to beat out Metric. This is straight on. This is crossbar again, but Sky with his 4th save keeps it out. This is unbelievable. How are they managing to find the boost to make some of these plays?
This is that's going to be it. That's it indeed. Lion Rollers 3-2 scoreline. Rhapsody beats out Flip Reset, and there's an absolute sear in the chat as well. Massive shout out to Merverlin. He predicted this exact scoreline and almost the timing as well. I do believe he said 1 minute 45 into overtime, but that is something worth mentioning as well. Oh my word! And what a series this was once again.
3 goals, 3 assists, the hat-trick from Lion, the playmaker from Virtue, the link-up play between these two players, and of course we can't forget Sky, the defensive rock for Rhapsody. They forced their way back 3 games on the bounce against a Flip Reset that looked like they were in complete control from the beginning of the series, but you can never predict major, not even in elimination, not even in playoffs, in postseason. This was such a brilliant Game 5 to watch. And just based on that, I cannot wait for the rest of this playoff run to go ahead. And I really hope, just based on that performance, that Rhapsody can go all the way, because that was such a disciplined comeback from them. Such a brilliant way to end the series. And breaking news as well, just before this one ended, Blaze did actually lose 3-1 to Android down in the lower bracket. The first seed is out, and the third seed is moving on.
Oh my. Absolutely craziness unfolding everywhere. It's a little bit mental, and I don't really know where it's coming from. It keeps on being Rocket League, obviously, and there's no real victor at any point. But what a series that was once again. It's been absolutely insane. 2 Game 5s, 2 potential reverse sweeps coming in there. One of them now finally actually making its way through. It was coming. They have been shown so incredibly strong, and that substitute proven to be the nail in the coffin for them, even though they were on match points so early on.
I mean, the mentality of that, both these teams had a second chance. They knew that going into this. They knew that regardless of the result, that they would have a second chance. In the lower bracket now, knowing that Blaze, well, they may not know, they may know now that Blaze, the first seed, went out to Android down there. Is that terrifying for Flip Reset, knowing that they're the second seed, going into that anything can happen, that they can be beaten by teams that are considered to be less skillful than them? Is this a mentality check for them? Is this a wake-up call? Do you think that they could go all the way in the lower bracket knowing that they didn't play as well as they needed to?
Well, the lower bracket is always a scary sight. You can't really lose, or you literally can't lose a series, or you're completely out. And in the upper bracket, you have that little bit feeling of safety. So it's been very decent for everyone involved. But yeah, you really need to make sure that you stay on point of your game at all times, and confidence just needs to absolutely burst out of you every single time. Otherwise, you're just going to be dropping out instantly. Confidence is everything in Rocket League.
Confidence is key. Offense, midfield, defense, it does not matter. And Rhapsody showed it there. It's what we wanted to see from them coming out of that series and into the next one, as they will be going straight against Otaku's. Otaku's in the upper final in not too long, just a little bit later. I cannot wait to see that series as well. But I mean, this has been a great one to cast over. I'm scared to cast over more. I felt like I gave everything for that one. It was such a close series. It was constant back and forth in that Game 5. And there's so much that I wanted to talk about that happened throughout that. I don't think we quite have the time to do so, however. But it's been great casting with you, Hyperia. I don't think I'll be doing the next series after this one, but I hope to cast with you again sometime soon.
Let's hope so, for sure. I mean, preserve your voice a little bit as well, since you've still got the lower final and the grand final coming up. So you need to make sure that you stay completely intact. And oh my word, what a start of the day that has been. Really hoping that it can continue, though.
Yeah, I hope it does as well. We love the majors here. I think in RSC is something we cannot predict, as I've said plenty of times. It's predictable, though I'm going to say it's unpredictable at this point, I think. But I've enjoyed casting this one alongside you. I can't wait to be back in the booth for, like you said, the lower and the grand final a little bit later on. But for right now, I think we're going to take a bit of a break for the next series. and we hope to see you then.